Busy people and lots of yellies, Worcester hipsters and fed up townies. We have more than pizza in common, with two rocks for bookends. New Haven, New Haven, New Haven, between two rocks.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Between Two Rocks podcast. This is episode 11. I'm very excited. We're going to have a fun time. It is so cold right now. It's pretty terrible, but we did leave the house. We are here in Baobab Tree Studios for another exciting episode. So please let me begin by welcoming my co-host, once again, Colin Ryan.
Hey, Josh, good to be here again.
Hey, man, thanks for coming.
Yeah, this is great.
You did it.
You got me out of the house today.
I know. I got myself.
One thing I will do today.
Agreed. Yeah, and it was close. I barely put pants on for this. Now, am I wearing pants? You can't really tell. It doesn't matter.
I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants.
Nice. That's smart. Yeah, it is cold. But yeah, we are going to have a good time because this week we have a special guest from the city government.
Ooh,
I think this is our official
city
first.
Government.
I know. As far as institutions go, I would say maybe not the least popular, but bottom 5 for sure. You know. So
we've got Comcast.
Hands down. Right.
Hands down.
Exactly. So those dulcet tones you hear are from Doug Hausladen, who is the director of transportation, traffic, and parking. Is that right? For the city of New Haven? It's a bit of a mouthful.
The whole bundle.
The whole bundle.
You actually got them in the right order. That's the first person who's ever introduced me to
Nice.
get all 3. And then, yeah.
I assume it's mostly about the traffic, though. I mean, that's the part probably that excites you the most emotionally.
I get out of bed, put my pants on like everybody else, and worry about the traffic.
Nice. Did you go to, because you went to Yale, right?
I did, yes. Yep.
So you majored in traffic?
By the time I got there, they had gotten rid of the traffic major and shipped that off to a different college. I think it was Northwestern, no joke.
Oh, nice.
There was a traffic school at Yale School of Architecture, and then Northwestern University took it over or something like that.
Oh, really? That was a true thing.
There's a story, something about Rotoval and something about ruining all of the cities came out of the Yale School of Architecture.
Brilliant.
I don't know anything about that, so I should keep my mouth shut. Probably.
I mean, I used to work there, but not anymore, so I am happy to badmouth them. Let me tell you, terrible place to work. No, that's great.
No, so I went to college. I, like everybody else, got a degree in molecular biochemistry and biophysics, and then turned that into a hotel liquidation retailer.
Is this true?
This is true.
Okay, I just want to be. I mean, it's fine if you lie. I just would like to know if you are lying.
I want to play along.
I'll hold my right arm up and say when I'm telling the truth. I think, right? I'm just used.
I'm sure the listeners will really appreciate that. Yeah.
No, and then been around downtown since 2006. I came back from living in Florida with the hotel liquidation stuff, and then managed a bunch of downtown properties, turned that into a very lucrative career as an alderman, then changed the name to Alder, and then got a job at City Hall.
Nice. And so you've been
also
there
one job at the School of Public Health in there and some other odd jobs as well.
So you left New Haven and you just missed it so much. You couldn't stay away. I mean, that makes sense to me, but
at the time I didn't realize it, but I was on that cutting edge of moving to where you want to live, and then worrying about the job later. I mean, I moved away to have to figure that out, but in the 20 months I was gone, I came back like 19 times.
Nice. All right.
It was like, it saved the airfare. Let's just...
The 18th time, you were like, I'm not sure about this. But that 19th time, you're like, you know what? I like this place. It's
My
all right.
heart is with hotel liquidation, but I do miss this place.
There's just not enough hotels in New Haven to make it work. It makes sense.
It's it's a big market of hotel liquidation, but West Haven has one. So, there you go.
So, I mean, but you weren't like a public transportation person. Like, did you like... I mean, was this always your pet project or like, because, molecular biology, pretty cool, but...
I could tell you that somewhere around 07, 08, 06, when I moved back, I started getting really interested in it and had the fortunate opportunity to work with some people on some transportation-related issues and learn a lot, and then really fall in love and passionate about the impact that the pedestrian experience has on people and just how important all of transportation is to everything.
Yeah.
I once was working on a startup called Actual Food, which was like a grocery delivery business and is a grocery delivery business. And 5% of carbon emissions is from driving to the grocery store and back. I mean, that's ridiculous.
For me, I was probably like 50%. That's because I don't drive a lot,
But anywho, so in
Yeah.
07, I started getting very passionate about climate and
Yeah.
access.
I mean, I
and
never
stuff.
really thought about it until I moved to New Haven, and then it never really occurred to me until I lived in New Haven that there were other ways to get places. Because in Connecticut, there really isn't. Like, I grew up in Coventry, and it's just unthinkable that you would go anywhere. Again, there's just nothing is within 20 miles. Like, so there's just not an option, and there's certainly no like convenient bus. So now here we are. We live in a place.
in Colin's hometown.
That's right. That's
right.
Yeah. Colin was already here. He knew.
I didn't have to move at all. Transportation wasn't an issue. I'm just here.
That's right.
When people give me grief for just getting here, right? I've only been here since 2000, and I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. The first time I chose to live anywhere on my own was New Haven. Like, I wasn't lucky enough to be born here, guys.
I mean, I chose to
All right,
live
we
in.
accept you. We accept you, Doug.
Yeah,
One of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten was somebody confusing me for a New Haven, like a lifelong New Havener. It was like,
I don't think it's like New York where you have to wait
Acceptance.
10 years. Like, honestly, if you live here on purpose, it's good enough. Like, if you want to be here, you're in the club.
Yeah.
Welcome.
If you want to be here and you don't badmouth it and you like it here, great. Great. We'll take you.
We can work on the bad mouthing, honestly.
you can badmouth it so long as it's honest and from a place of love. And
Yeah,
so
if you
long
want
as
it to get better.
also roll up your sleeves, even if it's just your own property. You know what I mean? Like,
Whoa, I'm just here to critique things. I don't really want to make them better. It's not the point of blogging. I don't know.
Josh has never rolled up his sleeves. That's the thing. He doesn't.
I just have weird forearms. It's not my fault. Like,
it's a sun condition, I think.
that's right. Okay, so let's get down to the hard questions, Doug. That's enough of your life. No one cares about that, We
Background
want
is over.
answers.
Background. is
Obviously, the
over.
whole point of this was for me to make reckless demands.
Where do you want a speed hump, Josh? Go
I
on.
don't care about speed humps at all, honestly.
I brought a stack of parking tickets with me, and I'm not sure if we should do that
We
now
should
or
one by
after,
one.
but
Yeah,
these need to
that'll
be
just be a
gotten rid
game.
of somehow.
I'll tell
Okay,
you,
first question. Where is my bike lane, Doug? Where is my bike lane? I was promised. I mean, God, 2017. I'm not really sure when it was originally.
I'm gonna agree with 2017 as
Okay.
the original.
And when I was buying my
launch.
house, you're like, "Oh, your house is going to be
You're
so much more
welcome.
money.
You're
It's going to be
welcome."
great." Don't see any bike lane at all. Just good old.
How's the value?
I mean, I can't. The
You
more I
taking
work
credit
on
for
it,
the global economy right now.
I'm just asking. I'm asking. How's the value going?
I think the more I work on it, the less valuable it becomes. I don't really
People are
understand how
gonna be peeling
economics.
back Josh's work for years.
I'm just taking some notes. Self-hatred, right?
It's not self-hatred. I just got to know what I'm good at, and it's
That's right,
not
that's
fixing up houses. It turns out. So, bike lane this year, is it going to happen?
It is. It is fully approved by the state DOT. It is fully packaged by our two departments.
being
and our
funded?
Designer. It is fully funded. 1.2 million.
Okay.
We would have been out to bid already. So the next steps are you put the project out to bid and notice. It gets posted in the newspaper for 2 weeks. People get to bid on it. It's
But we all know who's going to get it. Hush, hush, wink, wink.
Halliburton.
usually
That's right.
we have Halliburtons here.
Nice.
There are firms that have the lion's share. They're like New Haven firms that
Yeah.
outperform everybody. So, but anywho, the 1.2 million from the state of Connecticut, and then the rest. We've split up the bidding. So, we have.
That sounds really efficient. Yeah. How many more steps do you think we could put into this bureaucratic process?
So the most efficient with time is to do it in one package, and get somebody to do a bunch of subcontracts. And the most expensive with cost is that way too. So we're stretched thin on the budget. We've already had to cut a traffic signal or two. So we really want to make sure that we get the best price possible to complete the project in one swing. And we're also working with the neighborhood out in Westville to improve Yale Avenue at the same time. We're working with them. They've got some issues with us
Yeah, I saw that.
touching Yale without touching Chapel.
I don't want to name any specific coffee shops who were very angry about this project, such as customers and whatnot. But so that's all getting glossed over.
I
Everything's
very
cool?
much enjoy that coffee shop. I'll be
Okay.
and I I have some stories that still make me chuckle. There's a note I have to remind me of how I can improve next time we do a big project like this.
Okay, yeah.
What's the issue with the coffee shop? We talking Deja Brew or what are we?
Oh, I wouldn't say anybody's
I think
name
there's an
specifically.
Issue, I think there's an
I
issue
find
with
it harder to follow along if you don't say their names.
No. They basically had an issue
there's a
with the lack of.
communication.
Yeah,
Lack
they
of
basically felt like they were going to lose parking in front of their coffee shop, and so they were like, this is going to hurt our business.
Yeah.
which they were,
Right.
and now they're not.
Right. But Yale Ave is like, there's so much parking right there. It just seems crazy.
I think we're going to build like an extra 160 safer parking spaces. Like
Okay.
That's going to be great.
right.
It'll look like Long Wharf, kind of.
Yeah.
It'll have parking on both sides of Yale Ave and then a bike lane and walking lane because we're going to make a new sidewalk for no reason, just because you need more sidewalks.
Does that ever make residents feel better when you tell them that their neighborhood's going to look like Long Wharf?
It doesn't go well, but it's surprising.
We're going to get a few trucks in there.
We're
Yeah.
going to get a couple thousand taco trucks here
folks actually like
and a bike lane.
It's better than you'd think, but yeah, no, the taco trucks usually change everybody's mind.
Fair enough. All right. So the bike lane is supposedly happening.
This
Great.
summer.
Question,
Yep.
This summer. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I look forward to it because that
We're
was my
gonna need
main
all the
way
help
of commuting.
possible on getting the word out and knocking on neighbors' doors and stuff like that. It's we've never done something like this, and we're really batting above our weight class.
Wait, do the neighbors have to paint the lines themselves, or
Yeah,
how
why are
does
you
that?
knocking on people's doors?
Yeah, I'm confused.
There's going to be some changes. You're going to be parking in the middle of the street. You're going to have.
Oh yeah, that's true. People.
It's just going to be a bunch of behavior changes. We're dropping a lane of traffic, and it's during school rush hour, people are like in the public meetings. They've been pointing out that traffic will be a snarl, and the answer is it's true.
Yeah, but there's other roads north and south, so I don't know what to tell you. Not every road has to be a main thoroughfare.
There's 4 schools on
Yeah.
the end that are all under non-high schools.
Yeah.
K through 8 schools.
Okay,
This all sounds like a nightmare, and I'm going to protest against it.
it's too late. I'm gonna. Don't worry.
Not your neighborhood, sir.
I'm gonna
If
throw.
I know correctly.
That's right.
That's right.
I think Newhallville is
Not
your
in your
neighborhood.
not in your backyard.
Edgewood
It's
is your
Collins
neighborhood.
Motto. That's right. It's my neighborhood, and I'm
right.
throwing the full weight of my blogosphere behind it, or however that works.
I interpreted those eyes to be very menacing.
Yeah, as you should. All right, so I know one of the big projects coming through transportation right now is basically the bus redesign.
Yes.
Yes. There's been a lot of talk like they're making mini hubs, kind of getting away
Yes.
from the hub and spoke system that makes it inefficient to travel between endpoints, fewer stops, bus lanes possibly, or
Yes.
priority signals. What's next?
Well, I think a more efficient transit system is coming. It's really on the horizon.
Is there money for this? Has Lamont thrown any? Because the state's obviously not in the best place to necessarily be spending for huge capital improvements, right?
The nice thing about buses and transit on 4 wheels is that it's much more affordable from a CapEx and OpEx perspective.
Whoa! Quit throwing your lingo at me. That
So it's cheaper to build for
all right. You need to
for
slow
buses.
down, man. You are really just trying to snowball me right now.
Simplistic.
This bus study, Move New Haven, and check out the reports.
I did
movenewhaven.com.
participate, by the way.
Josh has
Maybe several
enjoyed
times.
a couple of meetings.
Nice. Yeah.
We have many more meetings to come. The
Love meetings.
the second phase report's coming out in March, and we expect to go on a effective outreach to re-engage the people that really helped, because the report's about 18 months behind schedule.
Yeah. How did the meetings go? As far as I saw, there were meetings because you want to do less bus stops. Like I'm going to lose probably my bus stop on the Whaley Ave on Hobart Street.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes, you
just
are.
like there's there's just a lot of bus stops. When I'm on that bus, it stops every 20 feet, and I'm just like, this does not feel that fast.
So remind me if Hobart has a traffic signal.
No.
Exactly. Does
Yeah.
it have a crosswalk?
I don't know.
It
People
does.
just wandering in traffic.
No, there's one that's marked,
It's hard to know on Whaley Ave what the rules are.
and it's Route 10. So like
Bit
the
of a
one
Mad
that,
Max.
my powers have very limited capacity here.
Yeah.
But
But I know the feedback, some people are like, for people with disabilities, et cetera. I mean, obviously, how are the meetings going? 'Cause I know there've already been some, right?
So we have a couple of things going on. So the Move New Haven study, and then there's the implementation of recommendations from Move New Haven and other statewide recommendations on transit. The specific recommendation you're talking about is the consolidation of bus stops to make the free flow of bus traffic just go go faster further.
Right, less stops.
Fewer stops, and so you can hopefully get to a point where you have, fewer stops that then also can have higher amenities.
Right. That was a big part of it, wasn't it? Making the existing stops or the ones you keep stronger.
Do I remember you attending a meeting in the basement of the library as well on this?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
He does hang out in a lot of basements, but maybe not that one.
That basement. I
Yeah.
may have been there later that night. I don't know. Not
Those
for
kind
the
of
meeting,
meetings
though.
are invite only, so maybe you just need to play your cards right, Doug. You get invited once in a while.
So the fewer the bus stops.
I was wearing a GIMP costume at the shop.
Okay, I feel like we didn't have to go all the way there. I feel like we left enough to the
We
listener.
went to the edge. We went to the edge, and the listener
And
decided,
Colin just didn't
are
know
they gonna
enough.
jump off the,
Yeah,
with,
he
you-
wouldn't-
with us?
No, he
in
wanted to
their
push
mind?
them.
No
Yeah.
one was even peeking over the edge. I just had to go.
Okay, whatever. It's fine.
We've done meetings on Whaley Avenue between Broadway and Fitch, and we've really West Park, and we've also done meetings on Grand Avenue between effectively James and Front. And meetings have gone very well. On one hand, we had them well publicized and everything along those lines. Attendance was miserable.
Yeah.
Something that we're looking at.
It's probably hard to get there on the bus.
They were
Too many stops.
They were on the bus. They were on the bus lines that they were going to be impacting. They were at one.
It is tough
in
to get
the
people to
evening
meetings.
and one in a Saturday during the day. I very much welcome feedback on how better to reach people.
Yeah.
We had food candy. We had no more than two people from the public at each meeting.
Jeez.
So
It's a lot of pizza per person. So if you're looking to eat some pizza, you should show up to some of these public meetings.
Bars and
All right, granola bars.
and water, so it could reuse
Sure.
them each meeting.
That's good, right? Yeah.
Did you think about not advertising the traffic meeting aspect and just say you have pizza and free water there?
Our fear is that when we've gone and done this, when we go to actually consolidate, that folks will rightfully have a voice again and an opportunity, and they always have an opportunity to make change. Like, it's very important to know that a lot of things take a lot of time. Bus stop work on our transit system takes an inordinate amount of time for the cross agency disciplines plus.
So people don't care really, or rather they care, but they're not enough to show up to a meeting. You know what I mean? Like, I'll write an angry email, but that's about where my effort drops off. You know.
So we've done for Whaley Avenue. We've completed all of the outreach work. We know which stops will be eliminated. We have to put up the notice on the stop itself saying this is scheduled in X weeks.
So when is this going to happen?
I'm walking with the district manager on Friday of each district to go over bus stops and amenities, and I'm going to be working with my crews at the sign and signal crew to move shelters, to put benches, to put the right benches, frankly.
What is the wrong kind of a bench?
Well, there's
metal
good
spikes.
there's good infrastructure and there's bad infrastructure, and so there's a book out there designing for people or designing for not for people. And so spikes on a seat makes you not want to sit down very long.
Depends who you are.
And so you have to really work with the community to outline the goals.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is to have a place for someone who is now going to walk a little bit further, place for them to rest their legs.
Okay.
Especially our folks whom are taking the bus independent. We want to really promote retiring in place, aging in place. There's a great website on ConnecticutAgingInPlace.org where you can learn all about retiring in place. So the boomers.
But
and
Florida's so
millennials.
warm and there's no taxes. I just don't think it's a winnable battle, but all right.
yeah. So it's the cultural amenities here are wonderful. The walkability is wonderful. It really is. Thank you, Frank Rice. And the ability for someone to live in Fairhaven and get to Westville should be a 15-minute bus ride.
Okay.
Front Street to Fitch Street should be no more than 15 minutes.
It's tough because you're definitely going to sit at the green for 15 minutes for sure, no matter what.
So, this
based on my use of the bus system.
somebody on the thread, somebody on the thread had a question about when are they going to fix the system, redesign the bus system.
Yeah.
And then they obviously jumped into the place where people have always pointed to as the obvious problem, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I'm not being, there's no sarcasm font. I'm trying to.
Right. Poor people on the green, right? That's what we're talking about.
This is what
Huge problem.
This has been
I'm kidding if you're not curious. If you're curious. Yeah.
exactly. It's.
I find it just good to tell them if you're not sure, but whatever. They can write angry emails at me. It's okay.
And what I've been seeing, and I again welcome big feedback on this. What I'm targeting, what I'm hoping for from the Move New Haven study is, Elm Street can be a very high capacity transit street, 2 ways, and Church Street can be a high capacity transit street 2 ways. When you start thinking of
it's been so long since we talked about the
2-way study.
Yeah, boy, that's just
painfully long.
Did not go on. So money, right? That's the real problem. It's you have a lot of ideas, but without money,
tolls.
It's tolls.
So
okay.
a bunch of things is the answer to that, and I'm not the biggest.
I don't know.
expert.
Based on the Facebook comments I read, tolls are bad, and Malloy is just trying to steal my money. He's just those fat cats in Washington. So you don't know when the bus stops are going to get redesigned, is what I'm hearing.
Well, on Friday I'm walking the districts with both Grand Avenue.
Then how long after that? Right. You said you're going to walk. That's great. But
There's
how
years of knocking on doors before they can do this.
What
about the hub and spoke system? That's
we're talking about removing
out,
signs.
Right?
The signs are probably going to be gone by the end of February. We just have to post a little notice in January saying in February this stop will be moved and you'll have to go to that way or that way.
What about from getting Westville up to New Hallville? You know what I mean? Or what about
the crosstown route?
Right, exactly.
Yep.
The outer rim, if you will. So you don't have to always go downtown. If I want to go to Colin's house, I basically have to ride downtown and then switch over to whatever the O is now. I don't know what they changed it to. And involves, typically because if one bus is running late, they all sit.
And you've got Southern and Hill House. I mean, there's way stops in between there that would, make it work.
I think Henry Street is going to be a great connector for that little run.
But that's got to be a long-term project, right? That's got to be ways out.
It's on 4 wheels. We can move. The reason that bus is so wonderful is that you can move as fast as the system will. Now, hold on that for a second, which is... when you want to build something on buses, you can build it within 6 to 12 months. And really what it takes is operating funds. So what it really does take is a funding source. And we've been talking about cutting bus service statewide for a while because operating funds have been so terrible. And I'm not the biggest expert, but our STF, State Transportation Fund, was going to be bankrupt in 2021. And then, some receipts came in higher, and people allocated all of that money to the bankrupt STF, which pushed it out to 2031.
I don't know what that is.
State Transportation Fund.
Okay.
And so all of these projects have been held up. My downtown signals project has been held up for a number of years.
Yeah. And what is that?
We're turning Church Street 2-way.
Yeah.
It's been designed out the door, out to bid.
What if instead of that we had
years.
2 more lanes and now it's a racetrack
and a tunnel,
right?
And a tunnel.
Oh,
plus the flyover.
That
let's get that boring company in here.
You know what? If we could just get another highway
nudge.
through this city, that would
make it a runway.
Ooh, for Tweed, perfect.
Rodoval.
Where's Sean O'Brien and all
Where
this?
is Rodoval?
Isn't it a little frustrating since the easy solution would be to commandeer Yale's shuttle system, which is just running side by side with our...
Yeah, what about the rich people's bus?
Yeah.
That public people aren't allowed to use.
There's a lot of...
Well, is actually well served by Yale's shuttle
East
system.
Rock. I know.
It's great.
I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I take the red. I was like, no. I take the actual city bus. It doesn't have colors, this numbers.
I think everybody sees the gross inequities and expense in the systems. It is a separate but equal transit system, and I'm using those terms knowingly what I'm saying.
Right.
And we really...
I mean, we can't make Yale do anything, but to some extent,
Is there a discussion about that? Has that topic been broached? I mean,
He's
I'm
nodding
sure
his
they
head
have
if
no
you're-
motivation to do it, obviously, but...
I'm always sympathetic on folks whom say... There's a lot of strong critiques out there about what has been going on. The Move New Haven Phase 1 reported the on-time performance of CT Transit as unknown. That's a problem when you don't even know how to measure yourself and you can't measure yourself. No wonder 2 $10 million operations have grown up around you. It is obvious that our major employers, now remember, Yale New Haven Health is the largest employer in the state of Connecticut, and this headquarters is 15 out of their 25,000 jobs. It is very obvious that a large portion of workers at both Yale and New Haven want better transit, and there are a number of ways to get that done. The best way is to improve our public transportation system and build one that everyone can, trust and rely on. It's all about frequency and reliability. And so to Josh's point, a lot of the recommendations are bus lanes, right-of-way. It's a conversation about what should the public space look like. Should it be for the public or the private? And this is a weird conversation because people don't think about their driving this way, but their private automobiles should be secondary to the public transportation system. A vehicle carrying 50 people is more important to the traffic director than a vehicle carrying one person and a dog. It should
What
be
if
that
it's
way.
a really cute dog, though? Does that change the equation at all?
What if it's just a dog?
Head out the window. Head
What if
in
it's
the
4
window.
dogs?
Well, we could have dog-only lanes. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about.
They should
was
really be using a
dog-only
motorcycle and a sidecar. I think is the most efficient dog type of
Sidecars are
transportation.
made for dogs. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So you guys read the other day that the world's going to end in like 12 years?
That long? Oof.
I know.
Yeah. Oof.
You know,
I
I'm
gotta start living
spending.
healthier.
Yeah. I'm spending like it's going to be 6.
you thought I was going to be 40 and bust. So I'm thinking, so it's ramping up my thinking about other forms of mobility, and we're really, I think 2019 is going to be an interesting year for mobility. Bike New Haven is set to swap out all their bikes for June, and that's going to give us RFID options. So that'll solve a lot of problems, including the unbanked and
Yeah.
people
How's the bike share going? Are people using it? Is
people
it
are using it, and some of the most popular stops.
more or less than you would have hoped?
I think that we have fewer bikes than we're supposed to, and our stations took a long time to get out there. I don't even
Yeah.
think we've had a real solid. But we have everything approved. We're ready to build.
I
and
mean,
think there's a
I would
few
use it,
stations
but it's
left.
not near me. So it's just like there are days where like it's raining in the morning, and I'll take the bus in the morning, and I would ride home, but it's just not an option right now. Like it's just like I pull my bike on the bus, but it's annoying. I really hate being the guy who's holding the bus up because you're getting your bike off. Like it's great that they have them, but I still feel awkward about using it. So
Well, what'll be nice when we consolidate, hopefully you'll be standing at a bus stop not alone. You'll be one other person, and then they can get on, and while they're taking their time, you can get your bus, and everything's more efficient again.
yeah, I'll be like, "Are you paying in change?" Perfect. That'll give me plenty of time.
But this allocation of right-of-way is something I think is under-conversed about. We had a pedestrian seriously injured 2 nights ago during the storm over on El Grasso, Route 10 and Route 1, Columbus Avenue.
Pedestrian just got killed a couple weeks ago too,
on
right?
Route 80.
Yeah,
We've lost more pedestrians on Route 80 and Route 10 than is okay.
yeah.
It's a known deficiency. We have sidewalks coming this
Yeah,
year.
El Grasso is
Route 10.
crazy. Yeah,
And so next is going to be Route 80, and it's just not okay.
yeah,
We don't have sidewalks at these places where people are continuously dying.
yeah. It is wild over there.
We have to
Yeah,
just do the little stuff. People are walking to Walmart, and that's one of the more popular paths right now, sidewalk paths, goat paths, whatever you want to call it, is the trail on the along the Amtrak line from
Okay.
Middletown Ave.
Okay.
And people then walk down from the heights, and anyway, we have to. I think, to be completely frank, is we have to finish our sidewalk network to be a real city that is truly transit friendly. Because everything that's a transit city is a walking city first, and then a biking city will follow. Bikes will take care of themselves if you just can finally stripe their bike lanes.
yeah. Well, that would be a nice thought. Yeah.
Is anybody using the bikes? Do you have any numbers on it at all? Is it?
There's been there's been the subcontractor of our contractor. I'm going to push this off on somebody else. This is not my problem. All right, Colin? Not my problem.
But it is a problem.
No.
We agree it's a problem.
We agree it's a problem. Right. I hear you.
I think that you've said
I hear
enough.
you.
I think that we hear what you're doing.
The short version is they're gonna swap out contractors. The data's not great, but I've seen some heat maps that is, there's a lot of people taking up the Farmington Canal. And a lot of people are
Interesting.
actually
Cool.
picking up
Okay.
the ones in New Hallville and,
Yep.
and riding north.
All right.
There's more people riding to East Shore than I would have expected. And then there's a heck of a lot of hot spots where you'd expect them, especially according to the Bike New Haven mechanics. They tell me that their Fairhaven locations are some of the hottest, which is really exciting.
Nice.
And so in a
makes
couple of
sense.
months, 100 electric scooters are going to come out. These are going to be electric mopeds, So the bike share folks have, they're going to be, up to 20 miles an hour type thing.
Okay.
So those are going to roll out pretty soon. I'm
Nice.
looking at
Those are going to be at the stations, at the bike stations.
some
Oh,
of them,
wow.
some
Very
of those,
cool.
Yep. I'm gonna working with our disability coordinator and working on some policy to permit and allow electric scooters this year.
Okay.
We want to figure out a way.
Where do I park an electric scooter?
That is why we're leading with our disability coordinator is taking
Anywhere
the
you
lead.
damn well please.
That's right.
I rode a bird.
Middle of Church Street. Done.
I rode a bird in
rode a
Indianapolis, and the way that you end a session is by taking a picture of where you park.
That's their bike share bird. It's like the big,
Okay.
big
It's
program.
the scooter. Yeah,
I was
the
hoping
scooter.
more of a never-ending story type situation, but okay, go on.
So that I think we're gonna just make bike lanes into slow speed vehicle lanes
Okay.
and work through some policy and see
Yeah.
what makes sense. I'm adopting the.
How do you get drivers to respect the bike lanes? Because let me tell you, I take the bike lanes, Elm Street, every day, Elm Street. FedEx truck, somebody dropping somebody off at Yale. Yale, the High Street bike lane. Yale Facilities just lives in that lane. Like, I can't, even in the
I hear
morning,
ya.
I cannot get through that lane without, like, having to swerve around. And
what's
people,
the-
like,
and
don't
what-
even
High
look.
Street's just hard for everybody. Let's just
Yeah,
admit
all
that.
right, fair enough.
And what's the traffic volume? Do you ever have a problem swerving around?
No, it's fine. Yeah. Except
in
for pedestrians who
my-
never look at me, so I need to be aware that they're going to walk right in front of me,
Right,
not
right,
looking,
right,
because they're not
right.
used to, like,
The contraflow.
yeah.
Myself included. I almost got clipped. I almost
Oh yeah, it happens.
would
It's
have been
great.
very ironic if I had been.
If that's how you went,
jaywalking.
I mean, come on, that'd be great.
It would be.
Jaywalking is the best.
Traffic
let's
star
all-
killed by his own creation.
Has GPS improved bus ridership? Are more people riding the bus?
That is a great question. I do not know the answer to that, but I can try and find that out.
Okay, because it is nice. I feel like lately, the last few times I tried to use like the transit app, like the 243, I feel like it's just not showing up for whatever reason. When it first came online, it was always. So I don't know, like if it's just like, because I didn't know bus drivers have to like hit the button or whatever to like make it work.
I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I'm, the one that we set up is on the green free shuttle, so you can go to newhaven.ridesystems.net. And you can see the green shuttle go around. It's just
Okay. Yeah, the
it's only-
Union.
the Union Station shuttle, Monday through Friday, 7 to 10. Right now, we're trying to reconfigure that route and think about how to combine that with the commuter routes. There's 2 commuter shuttle routes, one in the AM, one in the PM. Their ridership is like 7 a day. It's like really trying to work through spending that dollar onto the Union Station shuttle
Yeah.
and figuring out a way to operate 7 days a week, maybe 2 buses at a time type thing.
So how is New Haven solving its like last mile problem, especially now that like the Hartford line is up and running? So we have more people visiting, I would hope, from other places. Getting dropped off at State Street, which is obviously more downtown than Union, but still a little bit on the outskirts. Like if you don't know New Haven, how are we encouraging people? Like, do you have a strategy? There's the bike share over there, obviously, but.
So bike
It is
share,
a little challenging to use, I'll say.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah.
And
I want to use it, but I was like, and I even like the lady stopped me and she's like, "Oh, how does that work?" And I'm like, "Well, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, but even like the lock itself, I was like, wait, like even the picture of the lock, I'm like, how does this work? And I eventually figured it out, but like I want it to work. So like, I don't know. There's definitely a learning curve on that thing. So
I have a bike.
yeah, I have my own bike typically. But once in a while, I took the bus to work, and then I'm like, oh, it's nice out. I'll like ride, and I can take it all the way to like Sherman Ave, I want to say.
I'll say the Let's Go CT card is great.
Okay.
Have you signed up yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one.
Yep. I think that's
I actually got a commuter benefit from Yale, though, where I order bus passes like pre-tax.
Yep.
And so I get that commuter benefit. So that like I don't think they're compatible, unfortunately. So I just sort of like get like a 10 ride pass or like a monthly pass. I don't think there's a way to spend money. That would be great.
There is. You'd have to give your employer your Let's Go. Anyway, if there's not, there should be.
Welcome to Josh's personal
there is.
transportation issues hour, where we
This
solve
wasn't on
my
the Facebook
particular.
wall of questions.
Yeah.
Wasn't Josh's personal Let's Go CT problems.
Yeah, I do have a card though. I did order
Qualified
one.
transportation benefit.
What do you think about kids riding electric hoverboards? Aren't they the coolest?
Don't be a McFly. You better answer this right.
What?
How's the parking app working out? People using it? Is it great?
People are using the parking apps.
Yeah.
We actually have two.
Okay.
We still allow Park Mobile for the regional customer, the person that's not here all the time, that doesn't want to have to download a whole new app just to give me the money. And we also promote Go New Haven. Go New Haven has more. It's better for the consumers from a cost benefit amount. It's cheaper convenience fee, and it's only one convenience fee per entire session even if you reload.
Okay.
But we have every year we continue to grow in our dollar per in our mobile transactions versus our credit card versus our cash. So
where are you on variable rate?
we have been approved. We are way behind. We have been approved on
What?
we've been
So
given
like
a-
every other project's cool.
Yeah. No, we have a 3-year approval that's basically winding down on February 1st in 3 years. And so we have a sign project that we want to go with it. And, we were supposed to have a report out by now. I'll tell you, we've taken a big hit and staff. It's not just the federal government that's struggling. Every government is struggling.
Is it because of the federal government or just because of
It's because of lower. It's because of
challenges?
It's because of the structural deficiencies in municipal governments.
Yeah.
Especially
So what
in
is
New
it
Haven.
like working as one of the faces of one of the most loathed institutions?
Are you sad?
Are you?
Only on the inside.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's
That
right.
is good.
That's
No
where I
one
keep my
wants to see it
sadness
on the
too.
outside.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty bad about keeping it inside too. No,
That's why you're a comic.
yeah. Well,
You
fair
share
enough.
a
That's
lot.
right. This is true. Overshare.
Overshare.
Yeah.
Thank you for.
I mean, is it a
that show
challenge
the other
to?
night.
Oh yeah. Did you have a good time?
I really did. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we did the Art Plus comedy show. So for those who came out, thank you so much. We had a great time. I think
For everyone else,
for everyone else who did not brave the snow, that is fair. I think
you're
it's
giving
gonna,
him a pass.
I
on
think
this
it's going to
one?
be a month. Yeah, I give everybody a pass because maybe they'll come to the next one. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be like a monthly thing.
Josh is doing 12 more shows this week, so they'll have an opportunity.
It's a decent size.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's a
spot.
It
perfect
was very fun. I
size.
thought it was perfect for comedy, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's too bad the bathroom is right where it's perfect. It's great. We had a great time. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, working for government. It's got to be a challenging time because a lot of people just are. I mean, I feel like there's like this whole Chaz and AJ like world of like anti-government like malaise. I don't want to call it like rage or anything, but there's just like every time WTNH posts anything, like so many comments are this like crazy
Circuitous logic. Of,
yeah,
of
like
weird.
there's this group of people who are all like pumping each other up and just full of like anti-government, like, oh, this is what you people want. Like, I don't know. It's wild.
I will say that I came.
And it's been a challenging year
I was
for the
once
city
a
of
New Haven
Haven.
independent commentariat. Like I used to do some commenting and
Yeah.
thoughtful commenting. I'd like to say.
Yeah, not me. I just
No,
like
I used to rage type. I used to rage type.
Are you noteworthy? No, I'm just kidding.
What's your handle, Doug? Give it up.
So I think it is an interesting time to work for government. I think that the word bureaucrat is supposed to be a put down.
I mean, it's been a rough year for the city. It hasn't exactly been a PR dream over there. There's been a lot of, the tax hike was not particularly well received, strangely.
Yeah. No.
And we're all homeowners here, so we felt this,
Yeah.
I think, quite explicitly.
That's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to poke fun. I'll tell you later what my joke was, but
Okay, yeah, true. We do not like fun on this podcast, so
No.
good call.
no, it's very sensitive, so I don't want to poke fun at any of it.
I guess you
I'll
do
just
work
say
for
that,
certain people.
Yeah, no, it's
Do you think Tony Harp would come on this podcast?
I am sure she would review the options and
Wow.
Okay, well, maybe someday.
So you're saying she would consider the podcast? Would she come on?
so I'll say I'm really happy to work with a lot of people who care a lot about the city of New Haven. I think my present boss, Mike Piscatelli, had said it the other day that a lot of us live here, and we were in a meeting with about 40 members of the public and 4 bureaucrats, and all of us lived in neighborhoods in New Haven,
Yeah.
and can be found on the weekends, just at the farmers market and the neighborhood
being a New
cleanup
Havener.
and
Yeah.
being a New Havener.
So you do care. You're not just a faceless bureaucrat working for the man.
I keep the beard on to make sure that I can keep that nice layer between the people and me.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wear a gimp costume to do that.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Usually I'm the one, but Con, you're a little too comfortable on the mic. I don't like it.
Do you feel that you serve the mayor, or do you think that the departments are pretty autonomous and you're working for the people or the city or what?
I definitely,
Because you work for me, pal.
That's right.
I definitely. It is interesting. I have a contract with the city of New Haven. I was appointed by Mayor Tony Harp, and I am her, her appointee and her public servant, if you will. But I do have a contract that extends longer than her term, than her contract with the city residents. And so it's designed that way, I believe, as a very good reminder that I work for the residents, and she is my boss, and I'm supposed to work in her way of doing things and whatnot. And I'm super proud to work for a mayor who, in her first weeks, said very bluntly that transportation is a civil rights issue, and that the next thing she did was give me a chance to help fix these issues.
Do you have aspirations to one day run an unsuccessful campaign for mayor?
You got to let Elgar do it first, though. It's not fair to, you got to wait your turn, Doug. That's the rule. If I understand politics. He just started following me on Twitter. I really shouldn't have said that. Well, what are you going to do?
No,
I'm rooting for him if I like his policies. I don't actually know.
I will say that I've added a job in the last few years as the executive director of the Parking Authority, and that I have a lot of things I need to still do before I can think about doing anything else.
But that is something that you would enjoy. You would like to.
I think everybody who knows me knows that I like having a part in running cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was obviously
really
what the
found a
hotel
passion.
liquidation dream was all about.
Of course, stepping stone.
You should think of really, isn't mayor the ultimate hotel liquidation job? Okay, I want to get to some games because we are getting there.
I'll tell you, it's walking by your projects and seeing. I saw somebody use a rapid. I was driving down Fountain Street, and somebody walked across the street using one of my push buttons that I installed, and
Nice.
took years to get the DOT to
blinky
let me
lights?
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's super wide, and it needs to have a middle one, and it's not good enough, and it's just iteration one, but it was awesome.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
playing full size SimCity. It's great.
And when
But then every time a volcano explodes, you're like, oh, it's the worst.
Again.
here,
I
here's
gotta
something.
turn that setting off.
Here's a trippy feeling, which is someday, there might be a crash involving a bike share and an e-scooter, and that's
Team bike.
that's gonna feel bad.
You'll have
'Cause we're
caused
all
both
about-
those fatalities. I assume
We're
Your
about-
sadness
probably.
might pour from the inside to the outside.
We're about risk mitigation, and
Have
we
you already
have a
written?
system that
Have you
kills
already written
35,000 people a year.
your condolence speech for that moment? Like, is it filed under eventual death?
I'll tell you, it is it is not always an easy job.
All right, sorry, I shouldn't make line. I'm sorry. All right, on to some silly questions. Cool. So one game we like to play here is Mayor for a Day, which is pretty apropos given the conversation.
Perfect.
But so basically,
Colin knew what
the
was coming,
concept
didn't he?
the concept of the game is basically we give you $1 million to do some pet project or whatever you want, no other approval or anything like that.
Sidewalks to West Rock. Next question.
Sidewalks to West Rock.
Next question.
Don't we already have sidewalks to West Rock?
No.
Well, it depends on the entrance. I mean, you can go in through the village.
I mean, into the park.
The next million will be sidewalks on Route 80.
Okay. So sidewalks and more sidewalks. Wow. You answered that very quickly. Huh. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I do this for a living.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So is that the sidewalks project, especially on Route 80, since people are literally dying? Is that one bumped to the top of the list when you're making priorities, or is it?
It isn't. It isn't. It's a strange system we have, where, it's a strange system we have where the city engineer and I got into this conversation once where we were talking about process, and I'm a big believer in process because you have to have resident buy-in. The more that we can have resident buy-in and agree on the process we choose to do projects, the more we can talk about which projects to do and less about fighting for their own project. Participatory budgeting is this field. I'll just put a quote around and just say, if you haven't heard of participatory budgeting, go Google it. There's something called the PB Project down in New York that I heavily recommend. We got to get past this fighting over how important my thing is to agreeing on something and then saying we don't have enough money.
But
and then go collectively find the money to go.
Isn't there
build
like a
stuff
point
more.
though? It's the Tweed Airport is a perfect example. Isn't there a point where there's just like somebody has an interest that is their own interest, and like there's nothing you can do to convince them? Like at some point, like not everybody can agree, right? So like, how do you can't. Not everybody's going to be on board. So what do you do at that point?
And that's the tough part about civil society. The greatest challenge we have as a species.
Do we build a
is
wall?
Self-government.
Is
Is
that
how do
it?
we govern? How do we literally walk around,
Around
feeding
the-
ourselves and taking care of our people, getting shelter above our heads, and hopefully spreading some art without killing each other? Like that is our task in front of us, and like we have what we have today because of people consciously built this system. So if we think we need a better system, we need to consciously build that too.
Don't you have to cut through as a dictator sometimes, like, and say, I don't walk across Route 80, but I guess we could not get a bike lane as quickly and, get some sidewalks over there.
We have had wins that way. Community connectivity. We have. I want to thank Governor Malloy, Garrett Euclidо, the former Undersecretary for Transportation, for their creation of this pilot project called Community Connectivity. It was built with a mind towards El Grasso Boulevard and Route 80 and Wilmot Road. The places, the gaps in our connectivities that are really holding people back or killing people or just need those fill-ins. So a lot of people thought about bike lanes with it. And really the point was to build accessibility, so handicap ramps, bus stops. Route 80 is a pretty big bus area too. The bus stops are weirdly in parking lots at like Walmart.
So one question I did actually want to sneak in because I thought it was a great question I forgot about. What is your idea of complete streets? Like if it was perfect in New Haven, what would it look like?
Did you say this is your question?
It was not my question. It was actually from Kate Rosen, who is a former coworker of mine / involved. You probably know her from politics, is my
We know her
guess.
from the Twitters as well.
And from the Twitters, right, exactly. Twitter friends.
It's a policy. It's a high-level conversation. There's a difference between a road and a street. A road has a function of moving vehicles. A street is a different function. So this street, what is the best use of this public right-of-way?
Shutting it down to all cars.
Absolutely.
Are we going to do it?
Yeah.
Is it going to happen?
That is our goal. We have a 2019 project built into a complete streets, downtown complete streets budget out of the COG, where you had to have a certain collector, certain number of vehicles per day. So like things like Wilmot Road were not applicable.
What street is going to get shut down? Right here?
The dream would be
Orange Street?
Well, we have to do a lot of outreach and whatnot, but people that have heard this conversation, I've talked with the vendors on Orange between Court and Chapel quite a lot. Not the vendors, but the retailers. That traffic is really unnecessary and could blend into Pitkin Plaza very well. This block too, the traffic is really meaningless to me as a traffic director.
Yeah. And emotionally, existentially,
I love vacant parked vehicles. I love to store empty vehicles.
Sure. Who doesn't? Yeah.
But
who doesn't love a nice parking lot?
It's my second job,
Sure,
storing
yeah.
empty
Absolutely.
vehicles for the entire day. But there are better uses for that
Yeah.
right away. Church Street, Burlington is a great idea.
Yeah.
This
So you have read my blog. That is great.
So Move New Haven. What is your definition of a complete street? Sometimes complete streets have vehicles on them. Sometimes they have buses on them. Sometimes they have bikes on them. There's a different complete street out there for every use scenario. So I would say that here's a failure of our complete streets in our downtown is that every street is trying to be everything to everybody. You remember that Everclear song, Everything to Everyone? So they're trying to be a bus street. It's trying to be a car
Stop trying to
street.
make me like 90s bands.
Trying to be
Nonstop.
First Rage Against the Machine, which was
pedestrian
pre-podcast.
street.
Still.
It's trying to be a car street. And I would say almost every street in downtown fails in every measure of all of those things. And
I'm glad you said it.
Not me. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because it's so let's talk about what's the best use, and if the problem is deliveries, okay, let's work with
Yeah, there's got to be a
people.
way around that.
Exactly.
It
You know,
feels like achievable. If New York City can like get Times Square stuff in there, I'm sure we can figure something out.
the number one pedestrian zone in the world, right?
Right,
You know,
exactly. You would think.
we can have deliveries before 9 a.m., before 11 a.m. I don't
Yeah.
know. You tell me.
Yeah, we'll
let's
figure
work
it
on
out.
this.
No, it's
So-
it's that bike cartel that 3/5 is talking about. They're out to get us, which brings us to our next game, Fuck, Marry, Kill. And I do want to go with Colin's suggestion upon further thought, which is cyclists, pedestrians, and drivers. Because I just think that everybody's wrong, which I think is a great intro. So I will start by saying I would
What's
kill.
the structure of this? Do you
Oh.
if you kill?
I feel like
Can you kill
I feel like
pedestrians? I mean, you
can I
do
play
have to get
liability
into
card?
buildings, right?
I feel like somebody's going to use this podcast as evidence against me in a crash.
Well, what can
It's
we
all
play
going to
this
be used
game?
as evidence against you, Doug. Don't worry
that's
about
true.
that.
Yeah, we're just building a court case. You don't know how much I'm getting paid from high-priced lawyers to do this. This is a very advanced case of entrapment. All right, well, what do you want to play it on? Public transportation projects? Roads?
Well,
Can you just bail out on your
Bus
own game?
lines? Trains? Yeah, I mean, sure. He's a politician. I get it. I can't ruin his political career over this podcast.
I wanna. So, yeah. I don't know what I want.
Maybe when we say
Before
kill...
you even do it, I got a question that might lead to a game. How do you feel about the sales to Yale of city property that's happened previously? To the streets that they've taken, the Broadway, common areas, and would you fuck, marry, kill one of those back that was given away?
Wow. Really repurposing this game.
I mean, as a guy who manages all the streets, there's got to be a little bit of pain in giving away.
I was on the board
piece,
of alders that sold the property, so I actually
Which
had
one?
a vote.
Which property? The Broadway?
The second vote on High
Wall Street? Oh, High Street.
High and Wall. It's complicated. It really is. Everything's complicated. In hindsight, it's
Is
one of
a
those things
dollar
that I
a
changed.
fair price?
It's one of those things where I was moved on by constituents at the time.
And you were at what capacity serving as alderman? You were
Yes.
voting on it? Okay.
Yeah. And it's something where I was moved at the time by the revolt that had just happened in Turkey and in Istanbul over the sale of a public park. And I'll be the first, I'll be honest. It's the project they're doing right now is awesome. I don't know why. The only time we get pedestrian streets are when we sell them to Yale.
Yeah.
But we
Right.
should have a conversation about that, New Haven. Like, we're not good enough. We got to be better. I might be part of the problem right now. And if I am, I'm happy to take that feedback. And I really do welcome it with open arms on how to be better, because we need to be better.
I think the big issue people have with it too is that these sales almost always seem to happen when there's we have $1 million budget hole, and then a street is sold for $1 million, and you're like, this doesn't seem like it
perpetuity.
was very well planned out here. Let's.
Yeah.
I don't want
There's kind of a fire sale going on.
Yeah, I don't want to cause any. I don't want to dig up anything that's been decided in the past, and they're trying to literally legislate something. But and then you can disregard everything I said before. But I feel like we sold it in 1992 the first time. The review was supposed to be it was a good way to sell something twice. It's on some level is what we did, and I don't think that's necessarily fair. But that being said,
They basically already owned it, I mean, in many ways.
powers that and I thought they had a lease, like a 99-year lease or whatever, like a in perpetuity lease, and that the review was supposed to be a technical review rather than a legislative review. And frankly, if the powers that be kind of got over it and exchanged $3 million for the betterment of the city on that score, it was already sold once, on some level. The big, there's only a philosophical debate because I do believe in my alma mater being better than closing off streets to the public. We're. That being said, Harvard Square used to have a fence around it, and now it's open. So it's not a done deal that they'll never do this. So it's a it's more of an esoteric philosophical debate than my lifetime will see. I really hope it's something for our next generations to work to really not allow, because we've already sort of won it for the next 50 to 100 years.
All right. Well, since you won't play that game, I'll have another game, and I think
we
you'll
sold
play
it
this
forever,
one.
guys. Like, it's
Yeah.
gone.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I don't. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
But-
it was
and-
more of an idea of just not a
we've done
particular
it
sale.
before.
It's kind of the
Yeah, but we've done it before. It just creates mega blocks, and mega blocks suck, right? So 900 Chapel used to have streets through it, and then we tore everybody's buildings down, built a tunnel, and then put a concrete, behemoth up. Yeah, we've done this before. It's not. The sad part is we're not going back in and making better alleyways and stuff. Like Sherman's Alley doesn't poke through. Like this little walkthrough doesn't poke through. We need cooler, smaller streets like this for people like us just to walk around and chill.
Yep.
And then we do need Elm Street to be a high capacity east-west connector between Whalen
Right.
and Grand. That just makes sense.
Somebody needs to get in and out of the city. As much as I would love everybody to live in New Haven, people do come in from other places, I suppose.
What's fascinating about what you just said to me is when I first moved here, it was get people through New Haven. Now it's in and out.
Yeah.
We're back to this concept of in and out. And the nomenclature of what we as residents talk about, 3 white male residents hanging out, But we feel a big pride here by being our chosen home.
Yeah.
And by
I don't like the way you
default.
characterize Josh as a male.
Anyhow,
Slow.
I think it's.
No, it's true, and that's one of those things I've struggled with is trying to raise up or provide voices for other people because again we haven't been here our whole lives, know,
right.
And so it's tough because I want to promote New Haven, I want to be pro New Haven, but also know that I didn't grow up here. I can't speak for a lot of people here, so I can only speak for myself and try to get other people's voices out there who might not otherwise have a voice, So I don't know. Let's say forget all the games. We're right out of time.
Process matters.
We're out of time.
Process.
You got to make sure everybody has a voice.
Yeah.
Grind those gears to a halt.
All right. Before we go, do we have anything to plug? I don't think Colin does. He did try comedy for the first time ever. So that was
did.
good. So,
Yeah.
At the art
That
show?
was the best show I've ever been in, actually.
Yeah.
Wait,
also,
did
also
you get
the
up
worst.
there at the art show?
I'm the worst. I did. You
Yeah,
missed
at the
it.
very
You left
end.
early.
He did one joke. It was
One
about
joke.
45 seconds long. It was mostly just him reading a text. But
Can I hear it again? Can I hear it right now? We got 45 seconds. Come on, we got 45 seconds.
No, we're not doing that.
No.
No, we're not doing material. So you can check Colin out in another 5 years when he comes back on stage.
Yep.
Doug, what do you want people to show up to?
Buses. We're going to need people to write letters in support of spending that money. We're going to need to spend some money, but it is more affordable.
Who do I write a letter to?
Well, fortunately
Ned
for
Lamont.
us, yeah,
And it should be written
Governor
in
Lamont.
cut out letters from the newspaper.
Yeah.
Chairman Lamont.
Yeah, Governor Lamont is very supportive of our efforts here at the Move New
My
Haven
local
study.
reps. I mean, my New Haven
Richard
reps.
Andreski, the deputy in charge of public transportation. Dennis Zielinski, head of the CT.
So these are paper
Transit.
letters I have to send?
No, I mean email or whatever. There's going to be a
Would
time.
a paper letter be more powerful?
Obviously, it always
Yeah.
is. But our state reps, our state delegation is very powerful.
Yeah.
So our 2 state senators are phenomenal, Gary Holder Winfield and Gary Winfield and Senator Marty Looney, as well as our state reps, especially Tony Walker. And in this case, State Rep Roland Lamar. He's the chair of the Transportation Committee, and
He won't stop emailing me.
there's an unsubscribe option, Josh.
Oh, boy, I guess.
Unroll me, unroll.me. You're
Nice.
welcome.
Doug, what's the biggest win you had in 2018? Since we talked about 9 projects that have been in the works for a number of years. Tell us a big win.
Getting the sidewalks funded for El Grasso was a big win. Court Street contraflow was like a little tincture of a win.
Bike share. I mean, bike share showed up.
Bike share didn't feel like much of a win.
Yeah.
It's been very
Way to
much
bring
of
up
a-
bad memories,
Ooh,
Josh.
boy.
No.
Like it
Just being honest.
re-traumatized you.
No. I mean, we could have done a lot better on delivery, and we've been very understaffed, and
Yeah.
a lot of blame and improvement for that. So
Oh man, this was supposed to be a nice way to go out.
Yeah, I don't know why you're like reopened to woo.
10.9 million for our garages
Okay.
is a big win. We've got real time parking availability at Union Station. That's
And real-time GPS on the buses.
real time GPS on the buses.
That's good.
It's,
Ride the bus, folks. All right.
it's a good time to be in transportation. And
We did a very poor job of staying under the limit, so what are you going to do? So you can see me do comedy this Thursday at the Elbow Room in West Hartford, which is probably too far, but on February 21st in Hamden, I'm hosting a comedy show with my roommate called the Roomies Comedy Show. It is at the Rough Draft in Hamden, which used to be the Outer Space, I think. I never keep track of which of those venues is which.
Can I take the canal trail to get there?
You can. Yeah, you
Right.
sure can. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep providing valuable feedback. I am listening. I'm trying to, I actually wrote up a bunch of interview questions this time, so that was good. I
That
tried to
goes
be
second
prepared.
for me.
Big step.
Yeah,
Big step.
feedback's great.
Yeah. Email me
Keep
at
it as
Josh.
positive as possible.
Email me at
Sometimes.
josh@betweentworox.com. Don't be too positive because I just wasn't raised like that and I don't really know what to do with it. So, if you just criticize me until I change, that's really what I'm
Yeah,
used
he
to.
feeds off your hate.
I hate. Just withering
Colin
criticism.
is not interested, by the way, so keep it to yourself.
Thank you so much, Colin, as always.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug, so much for coming in this freezing day.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
Busy people and lots of yellies, Worcester hipsters and fat up townies. We have more than pizza in common, with 2 rocks for bookends. New Haven, New Haven, New Haven, between 2 rocks. Ba-da-da-da.